The UK is creature undertaken to trial by the Europe Committee above its length standing fail to encounter EU framework for N dioxide, not. Germany, France, Italy, Romania and Hungary include as well been called to the trial for violating contamination levels. The Europe Environmental Commissar, Carmenu Vella, told the EU owed it to its countrymen to get legislative activity. The UK has pledged an inclusive air contamination pact soon. But Britain could person fines totaling millions of pounds at going before the issue is allowed. By the government has already lose a episode of battles in the UK courts on air contamination. Commissar Vella told it was the committee's liability to provide human beings could breathe pure airborne. He told the term state creature undertaken to trial had been often alerted to pure up contamination as quickly as probable. We can't perhaps expect any much longer. He's top period to strengthen efforts and end exceedances of contamination levels. Environmentalists say by take the UK to the Europe trial of judiciary, the EU has shown which will be loose following Brexit. The Environmental Secretariat, Michael Gove, previous pledged how management of the environmental would not be divorced while the UK foliage the EU. The Verdant MEP Keith Taylor welcomed the judgment. He told, "This committee is creature constrained to get legislative activity versus the UK since by the government remnant stubbornly lethargic in the person of a social public health meltdown how is related to the deaths of 50,000 UK countrymen each year." Position Brexit. The is precisely the type of study and supervision the Tories schedule to flee. Proposals for a as-called environmental guard dog how is anything but a crippled dog out of the legislative gearing to get by the government to trial put the fact in abrupt ease. The is especially about as legislative activity by the committee and ecological lawyers, on the base of EU Act, has been the just way to strengthen the UK by the government to get any activity on air contamination at all. Margarita Tolato of the Verdant Team Europe Environmental Office told, Europe air quality assurance laws are creature break on a mainland scope. All in Europe has the identical order to pure airborne, and while domestic governments' failure to supply EU protections, keys order how the Europe Committee stares in to defend us of the air we breathe. Presence ad should surprise party not one. The country's creature shipped to trial include had 2 definitive warnings. As the ad was creature done, lawyers for Paris, Madrid and Brussels were in front line of the Europe trial of judiciary request how the 3 cities be permitted to problem car emissions regulation set by the Europe Commission and coordinated by domestic governments. They are hard to cancel. The committee regulatory how allows diesel engine vehicles to surpass emissions framework for way tests, in the wake up of the Dieselgate fracas. A DIFR representative told, "We go on to encounter EU air quality assurance framework for all pollutants separately of N dioxide, and information shows we are increasing thanks to our efforts to give levels of not downward. We will soon construct on our pound schedule to curb emissions in a inclusive pure air policy, installation out a broad band of actions to bring contamination of all source."